Welcome back to the news today. This is the Daily Debate, Israel Elections 2015, a day after the state controller's report on the expenses of the Prime Minister's household raised legal concerns. The effect in the public opinion is starting to show. According to a survey of Israelis conducted by the Shiluv Millward Brown Market Research Group, 41% of respondents said that the chance they would support the Likud in March 17th election had dropped. Out of those who said they were voting for Netanyahu, 22% said they were now reconsidering. But will the public remember it on election day? With me to answer this is Amir Oren, defense and government analyst, who for sure will tell me that they won't. Good evening.
Well, we'll reconsider, as you said.
Reconsider. And Tal Schneider, journalist at the Israeli political blog, The Plug, who for sure will tell me we don't have such a short memory. Don't we? Please tell me that we don't have such a short memory.
I can't remember what you just asked, so.
So, do you think that Israelis have short memory?
Yes.
And
yes.
they will?
Yeah, well, Israelis have a very short memory, and it depends on what will happen. You know, we have a calendar of a month for the Prime Minister to divert the Israeli public opinion to every issue he wants. He's been doing that for months now, and using it is, of course, his incumbent position in order to, you know, put issues on the agenda all the time.
So, you know, but he's putting the issues on the agenda all the time, and I agree with you. He's always shifting to security. And he is just shifting to security all the time, and people are being dragged
or
into
literature.
This, or literature. But, you know, this issue of the maintenance, let's call it in another word, it's coming each and every single time all over again. So when you know, some people are telling me, when you're dropping, at the end of the day, it's coming down. And it seems that this issue is dropping too much. So do you really, the Israelis will forget all the things, all the maintenance problems, until they will get to vote?
Both you, Lucy, and Tal mentioned that Israelis have a very short memory. What was the question? No. But seriously, this is a very critical juncture in the election campaign, because the public opinion polls which you cited are supposed to give us a freeze frame picture of what is happening had the elections been held tomorrow. However, the current situation is going to be almost similar every day from now on, because there will be a criminal investigation. There will be news of the criminal investigation. Who has been called for questioning? Is it going to creep towards Sarah Netanyahu, the Prime Minister's wife? Is it now going to creep from Sarah to Benjamin Netanyahu, and so on and so forth? Now, Netanyahu himself and his Likud associates are very worried today. They have been saying to each other that yesterday they have lost between 3 and 4 seats, prospective seats.
Likud.
The Likud in the Knesset. Now, another question is who is going to gain from this loss? Where is the so-called Zionist camp? Has Yitzhak Herzog been kidnapped? He is nowhere to be seen. But as of now, Netanyahu, the picture you're showing here of a very worried Netanyahu is correct. I'm not sure about this smiling person, Attorney General Weinstein. Why is this guy smiling? But maybe he knows something.
A lot of worries for himself. But, you know, when we're looking at the situation today, I heard Eyal Arad, one of the big, let's say, publications and strategic consultants in Israel. He said that from this 24, 25, 26 seats, or 22
right.
Seats that we're seeing, 50% of these 22, 25, 26 seats are basically still don't know if they will really, at the end of the day, will vote for Benjamin Netanyahu, which means that he has only 12 seats for sure. And maybe this is why he was so worried that the state controller won't take this.
It's not just a question of what the polls are. It's who's heading the biggest party and who can form a government with the rest of the parties. And if you add up the Bayit Yehudi and Lieberman together, all Likud and those other two, and you don't come up with a 40 even, that's very bad sign, because if you add up 22, 12, and 5, this is 39. It's nothing. It's impossible to form a government when you are under 40 with the rest of your pack.
If we're counting actually the seats right now, it seems that the Zionist camp and the Likud party are actually equal.
Yeah, but
right?
But if I may go back to your earlier point about what Eyal Arad said. Netanyahu really has only 12 seats as his solid base, which is what he got in 2006,
yeah.
Which means that if there is another alternative to Likud, people who bolted from Likud like Ariel Sharon and Olmert with Kadima, or now Kahlon, if they can portray themselves as the true spirit of the Likud, the clean Likud, Menachem Begin's Likud, rather than Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud, which is soiled with all of these scandals, they may siphon off some of his votes. Now, regarding your question about the equal number of seats Herzog and Netanyahu have, it has to do with Herzog's ability to maneuver between the two religious or orthodox parties. If he can woo Litzman and his group away from Aryeh Deri and Shas, or Eli Yishai and his group, then, plus the Arab list, the joint list, he may get more than 60 votes and then convince President Rivlin to give him the right of first refusal. Once he gets that, in the 3 weeks he will be able to form a coalition.
So before we will get deeper into these, let's say, subjects, we asked Israelis today if they think the state controller's report will affect Netanyahu in the polls. Let's see.
I hope it will harm his chances, because I don't know if it will help. He's a good politician, meaning anything that happens, he can work to his own benefit. So even if it's something that supposedly harms him, he has much experience in the matter.
I think a lot of people are looking for a change in the upcoming elections. So I think anything that's negative will do probably more damage than normal.
Totally different life, spending with no consideration, no example, and people are fed up, I think, with all this business.
To tell the truth, I have had enough of this story. It's always before elections. They try to make people fail. We will see what happens.
Everyone's the same, following their narrow interests to advance themselves and the tycoons who support them. And that's why I don't think it'll matter.
It seems that people on the streets just lost hope.
No, some of them are actually hoping for change, and some of them are going to come out and vote in great numbers in order to effect change. And the question is emotional. Will people feel that they are ashamed to vote for Netanyahu and stay home, do something else? They may not vote for the opposition. They will not cross the line. But going out and voting for Netanyahu when he has such a scandalous reputation, this may be too much for them.
Yeah, I actually think that the biggest challenge for this election is the voter turnout, because if the voter turnout turns to be very low, as it seems to my opinion right now, it's going to be very low, then the right wing will lose from that. Because right now, if some people ask me today, what is the effect of the controller report and on the national atmosphere, and I think if you can look at it specifically, the main sentiment is disgust. People are really, anxious. They had enough of it. So that may affect not to the benefit of Herzog, but to the situation where people don't want to go to vote and don't want to participate because they're, as we heard in the tape, they're really, they are really annoyed by it, and they will just not participate. And then, the following effect might be, if we're going to have a higher turnout in the Arab population, then it really can change the electoral map of Israel. I don't see excitement on the right-wing camps, but, it's hard to tell, really. It's hard to tell.
But there's a problem. Tal is right, but there's a problem now with the energy the Joint Arab List has managed to marshal, because as long as there were three separate lists, they fought with each other, tooth and claw, and there was much energy in the air. Right now, they are complacent, and if they don't re-energize their campaign, they may still get the 12, but they won't get the 15 or 17, as they might.
But I heard yesterday the head of the joint list, Amir Oren, in the Democratic Convention of Haaretz newspaper, and you know, I heard him, and he was speaking when he gave there like a speech, and when he was speaking about, I don't know, looking to the future and saying that this is only the first step for them, and the next step is actually creating a big, legitimate party that will conclude Arabs and Jews who are going to the polls together.
Very interesting.
Which hearing him was, I think, for the first time ever, I heard a different voice from the Arab, Arab society. But you know, with hearing the voices that they are going to just break after the elections.
I spent half a day with him last week. Went with him to Hura to make condolences to the families, and I spent the time with him in the car back and forth. And when I got there, I saw that he's not mingling very well with the Bedouin. And I asked people around, and they were like, "Oh, he's the Ashkenazi from the north." He's like, they call him the Ashkenazi, and he was upset when I wrote about him that he's Ashkenazi for the Arabs. He was upset with that, but you know, he's done a lot of efforts but he's done a lot of efforts from what I've learned, specifically in the south. He's very welcomed and won't have any problem to get people out to vote in the Bedouin villages, because apparently he's very well known there from previous activist activity he had. So the question with the Arab, to my opinion, is more about how will they be organized on the election day, because they don't need to spend the money of the campaign to fight each other. They only need to spend the money to buy buses and buy, pay drivers.
Yeah, but let's not forget that...
Will they be able to do it? That's,
And let's not forget that today the court just decided, the Supreme Court decided that Hanin Zorbi will be...
it was obvious. We have precedents, and then nothing's changed.
And she was helped by Baruch Marzel as her opposite number.
Which is really worrying, because this puts her in a really problematic position, because this puts her in the same basket with Baruch Marzel, which means
not really. It's like Noah's Ark. A man and a woman, an Arab and a Jew, left wing, right wing.
Seriously, we have to take into account, she is number 5 on a party that will, enter the Knesset with at least, 12 to 15. So she's a certain in. On the other hand, he is number 4 in a party that might not cross the threshold. So his market value right now is lower than hers, and he might not be a member of the Knesset. We can't give him so much credit.
Yeah, we can't give him so much credit, but let's say we are here in the media. Yeah, he's better known, and it's all about image. And when they put these two in the same basket, there was like a 1 + 1. If this goes home, she goes home.
If she's not in a good position anyways to begin with. So
yeah, but she is going to be in the next.
Going back to Ayman Oda and what you said, there is a psychological barrier which the joint list must cross after the elections. Perhaps they are holding some covert, clandestine talks with Herzog right now, and obviously they are not supposed to announce anything because this will hurt Herzog. But once the polls closed, if they agree to recommend him to President Rivlin, and if later they agree to assume the duties of some committee chairman in the Knesset, such as Interior, or perhaps even join the cabinet, then this will be a watershed.
I'll give you the roadmap. They will demand a head of commission in order to support him for the president. He almost said that. I mean, it's obvious.
I want to take you just.
I'm sure they're communicating pretty well between them.
Sure.
He's very pleasant and mellow, easygoing guy. So it's.
I want to take you to another subject, and before we're ending, and it's the upcoming trip of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Washington.
No trip.
No trip?
No trip.
You think that he won't take the trip at the end? He won't take the speech at the end?
Well, you know, President Nixon traveled to the Middle East a month before he was out. Netanyahu may decide to go, but with this scandal following him everywhere, imagine if some Israeli protesters were to hold placards in front of Capitol Hill saying, "Corrupt Netanyahu, you do not represent me"? Does he really want to have that? He will find some pretext, or Speaker Boehner will find some pretext.
And hearing yesterday Dennis Ross saying that the minute that Israel became a bipartisan issue, it's started to be problematic.
He will speak to Congress on video.
Like what, he will do like a video conference with the Congress?
Yes.
I think he's going. I think he's bouncing his head against the wall with that. He will speak to the Congress. The Democrat Party probably, won't attend half, or half of them won't be there. It's going to be probably a disgrace for him. And according to what we see in the American press, it's going to be also a disgrace for Israel, the state of Israel.
He's going, but is he coming back?
He's going, he's coming back. He's not going to have a pleasant trip because, as said here, he has a cloud, following him around everywhere. And it's not just the cloud of Israeli economic situation or the investigation. It's the cloud of what he's done to the American president and the way he hurt American symbols. And it's not going to be easy because, I don't know if he's going to be able to do press over there because he's going to get attacked severely.
It will be more interesting even in the following days. Thank you very much for being with me in this part. We're going out for a small break, and then we will be back for the one-on-one. Stay with us for this one.